So this video is a beginner's guide to the TI-30X Plus MathPrint. Okay, so what we're going to do here is show you how to use the calculator with some basic functions so you can get started using it. First thing, how do you turn it on? There's an on button down here. You press that and it turns on. When it blinks, to turn it off, you say second on. The second button represents all the blue keys, or the blue text above that key. Okay, so you turn it on, and it's blinking. Let's reset the calculator for as if it came brand new. So you press second 0. You can press 1 or 2, 1 for no, 2 for yes, or you can use this D-pad to move it down, and then enter. Now it's cleared. To remove that, you just press clear and you're done. Sometimes you want your text, so I'm going to type in like 25 or something here, some numbers. Let's say you want this text to be darker. To do that, you press second plus, second plus, second plus. It makes the text darker. The background screen also gets darker. You want this lighter? Second minus, second minus, second minus, second minus. Okay. Okay. To clear the screen, you just press clear. So let's do some adding and subtracting. Now, this is an algebraic calculator, and a lot of the times is you type what you see and the calculator will handle the rest. So for example, let's say 3 plus 5, right? You press 3, the plus, and the 5, and you don't press equal, you press enter, and it gives you a value, in this case 8. If we press plus here, it will take the last answer, which is 8, and then you can add, let's say, another 8, and it'll give you 16 when you press enter. Subtract, well, 5, take away 10, enter, and it gives you negative 5, right? And if, let's say, you want to multiply, right? 5 times 6, enter. You can see it has a little star for telling you it's multiplying. It gives you 30. Or divide. 8 divided by 6, enter. In this case, it gives you 1.333. Negative numbers. So let's say you have a negative number, like negative 3, right? So you press the negative first and then the 3, and then you say, let's say take away 9, that's going to give you negative 12, right? Let's say you have something a little more complicated. 3 plus 4 times 5, right? Well, in the orders of operation, this will multiply first, 20 plus 3, which gives you 23. So your calculator would do the same thing. So here we'll say 3 plus 4 times 5, right? And then enter, 23. So it'll do those orders of operation for you. Mixed numbers. Let's say, let's say you had not a mixed number, but let's say you had a fraction, like 1 over 4 plus 3 over 2, and you want that answer. There's a fraction button right here. So you press the fraction button first. You can see it, you got to put the first number on the top, which is 1. Use the D-pad to go down, 4. Use the D-pad to go across, plus. Then you do another fraction, and then 3, bring it down, 2, enter. And it gives you 7 over 4. Okay? If you want this to be a decimal, right here on the blue it says F to D. You can go back and forth, fraction or decimal. So you press second. This button we'll call almost equal. And you can see that it's taking the last answer and it's changing it from a fraction to a decimal. Enter. And it gives you 1.75. And if you press it again, it will take you back to that fraction again. What about a mixed number like 3 4 over 5 plus 2/3, right? So to do that, you have above the 7, you have the mixed number. So second, 7 gives you a mixed number. 3, use the D-pad to push it over. 4, bring it down. 5, bring it over. Plus fraction, right? 2 divided by 3. Okay, enter. And if that's, am I doing too many steps too fast? Just slow down the video, just rewind it. And here we got 67 over 15, okay? Now, let's say I want this to be, this is an improper fraction. I want it to be a mixed number. To do that, you press Math and then number 1. So here, you're telling the calculator, take the answer, the previous answer, and then change it. And here it is. 4 7/15. The cool thing about this calculator is that it will reduce the fraction for you too. Let's say you have, I don't know, 15 over 10, right? So 5 goes into 15 3 times, right? And 5 goes into 10 2 times. So if you press this button, the fraction button, 15, bring it down, 10, and just enter, it'll reduce it for you. And if you want, again, a decimal, second, almost equal sign, right? Take the last answer and change it, and it gives you 1.5. So that's pretty neat and very helpful. You also have percent, right? Like 3%, percent sign is over here, second, divide, and it gives you, it moves the decimal over. So that's pretty good. Now let's talk about squaring. So if you have 3 squared, that's really 3 times 3, which is 9. How do you do that? Well, you can take 3, and then you can put x squared, squares the number, enter, gives you 9. So let's say you wanted to do 3/4. So you press 3, then x with the box here, and you can see now it gives you the exponent, 4, enter, and you see it's 81. One thing to consider, when you're saying -3 squared, right, that's going to give you 9, because -3 times -3 equals 9. 2 negatives make a positive. But on the algebraic calculator, if you have -3 squared, it's going to give you -9. Okay? Watch. If you put -3 and you square it, it's going to give you -9. Why? Well, because let's say you had a problem like 8 take away 3 squared, right? Then this would be 8 -9, right? 3 squared makes 9. Then you have a subtraction. It gives you -1. If you do that on the calculator, you say 8 take away 3 squared, enter, gives you -1. So to give you the positive value that you want, you got to put parentheses, -3, close parentheses, and squared, enter, and gives you 9. So the order operation is right. You just have to be careful when you're doing this. Okay, let's do square roots, right? Like the square root of 81. So you could do is you go second, and then x squared gives you the square root. Press 81, enter, gives you 9. So the square root of 81, it has an index of 2. Okay, you don't see it, but that's the way it is. You can have other indices. In this case, let's say the third root of 8. To do that, you press 3, then second, then x with the box on it, and you can see the indice now is 3. And then you press 8, enter, and it gives you 2. Okay, well, that's pretty neat. What about if you had, let's say, the square root of 8, right? The square root of 8 and enter. It reduces it to you 2 square root of 2. So what about if you want the square root of 8, right? Then you can do that. You can take the square root, put in 8, and then put a period on it. You're telling the calculator, hey, I want a numerical answer, and there it is, 2.8284. So let's say you got 3 plus 9, enter, right? And let's say you have 17 minus 9, and you want to add the previous answer. You press second, answer, enter, and it does it for you, okay? Let's say you put some other numbers in here. You're doing some calculations. It doesn't really matter. And let's say you have 2 times the square root, right? And you want to put one of these numbers that you have over here, and you can. You can scroll until you find the number, enter, and it pops it in there, and you got it. All right, so using the D-pad, you can go into finding different answers. Now, scientific notation. Scientific notation, one thing we can do here to clear this, we can press clear. But scientific notation. So let's say I want 3.05 times 10 to the 4th. Well, 3.05 double E here, 4. It's the same thing as that. You enter, and it gives you 30500. Now, there is a way for you to keep all of the scientific notation, like keep it like that all the time. I think it's under mode, and you can see over here it says normal. You're using the D-pad, sci for scientific, enter, and then quit. And now let's see, 6 minus 9, negative 3 e to the 0, so it gives you the answer, right? 2.5 to the 6th power times 6.25 to the 9th, enter, and it gives me the scientific notation. I'm going to go back to mode, and I'm going to move this down to normal, enter. You got to press enter or else it won't work, okay? And then we can clear. Okay, let's see. Let's do some, prime factorizations. Let's say you had 30 and you need the prime factors, right? By hand, you go 2 to the 30th, gives you what, 15, 3 goes into 15, 5. So the factors of 30 were 2, 3, and 5, right? To do that on the calculator, just you can press 30 and then go to math, and then it says math, go all the way down, p factor for number 4, enter. So take 30 and do the prime factorization, and it gives you the values. So sometimes we have 1 over 4 plus 1 over 16. The teacher says, find the lowest or the least common multiple, right? Which in this case is 16. But how do you do that in the calculator? Like, which is the least common multiple? To do that, you go to math, and then you go to number 2, least common multiple, enter. Then you press 4, and then you need a comma above the period, so second period, 16, and you can enter. And you can see that it's 16. Now, you could change the numbers. Now look, if you move the D-pad over and enter, it copies that. And you could put on the D-pad, move it over, 16, comma, 4 is that difference, and you can close it. Nope, it doesn't. All right, you don't have to put them in order or anything. It just does it. Okay. Greatest common divisor, right? The greatest common divisor is something where you would, like, let's say reduce. 4 goes into 4 once, and 4 goes into 16 4 times. So the greatest common divisor between 4 and 16 is going to be 4. So to do that, math, greatest common divisor, enter 4, comma, 16, close, enter 4, okay? And you can put it in any order you want. Okay, so sometimes you want to sum a bunch of 2's using the sum function. So here, or this thing, Greek letter sigma. So sometimes they'll say, you know, add a bunch of zeros starting from 0, let's say to 3, okay? What does this mean? It means that you count from 0 and you end up at 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. So that means I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, 4 2's. 2 times 2, 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 plus 2 is another 4. And 4 plus 4 is 8. Okay. So, how do you do that in the calculator? Press math, you go down, you go to sum, enter. You can see the setup right here. It goes from 0 to 3, okay? And then move it over, 2. So you're telling it to add a bunch of 2's starting at 0, okay? And then enter, gives you 8. Now this 0, this might be confusing. That's the count, okay? So 0, 1, 2, 3. Start, end, right? Okay. We also have the product, which is pi. Same thing, 0 to 3. In this case, 2. How does this, what does this do? Well, this says 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which will give you 16. How do you do that? Math, go all the way down to product, enter. As you can see, 0 to 3. Move it over, 2, enter. Oops, I made a mistake. Math, product, 0 to 3. Move it over, 2, enter, 16. So if you want to take the absolute value of -3, it's going to give you 3. How do you do that? Well, first you go to math, you move over the D-pad to numbers, absolute, enter, and then -3, enter, and gives you 3. And then of course it does, you know, you can do some algebraic stuff in between the absolute value bars. Here you get 8, take away 9, which gives you -1, +1, right? Let's see if it does that. Math, go to numbers, absolute value, right? 8, take away 3 squared, enter, +1, okay. Let's say I wanted to round this to the nearest tenths, right? Should be 3.1, right? So let's see if we can do that. Let's go to math, number, round, enter. So here we got to enter the number 3.1234, then put a comma. Where do you want to round it? One place after the decimal place. So 1, enter, 3.1, you see that? Let's do 3.155, right? And I want to round to the what? Tens, hundredths place, right? To do that, you press math, number, round, enter, 3.155, comma, second, right? Second place. Or this is the first second, right? or the hundredths place. And then you put a comma, enter. And you can see 3.16 because that 5 makes that other 5 a 6. Sometimes you only need the fractional part. You only need the fractional part of the calculation. How do you do that? Well, you go to Math, Number, and then you go to, in this case, F part. Let's do number 4 here. Fractional part, 3.1234, enter, and it gives you only the fractional part. Let's say I had this, you only want the integer part. Let's go to Math again. Integer part, 342, there's a decimal there, 0.147, close it, so it got rid of this, right? 342, without doing any rounding or anything. Let's say you wanted the greatest integer that is less than the number, right? I'm going to give you some examples. 7.68 would be 7. Negative 7.68 would be negative 8. 0.365 would give you 0. And negative 0.25 should give you negative 1. So the int function, right, the greatest integer that is less than the number. Okay, let's do that. Let's go to Math. We've got a Number. I'm going to go to int for integer. Okay, let's say 7.68. Close it. Gives you 7. I can copy it over. I can go up, enter to copy it, and then I want to put a negative 7.68. Close it, enter, gives you negative 8. I'll go over here and integer portion with the D-pad, enter, and then I move it over. Let's say I want 0.365, and let's say I want to delete that number. I can delete it, see? Enter, 0, and then I can copy again, move to the D-pad, enter. Okay, and let's say this time I wanted negative 0.25, close it, enter, negative 1. Okay, so that's the integer calculations. So let's say you want the minimum of two numbers, like negative 5 and 17, right? So to do that, you go to Math, Numbers, all the way down, minimum, right? Negative 5, comma, 17, close it, gives you negative 5. There might be some operation that you need that. Or max, right? Let's say 17, comma, 5. Okay. Will that give me an answer of 17? Probably. Let's go to Math, go to Number, go down, max, enter, 17, comma, 5. Close it, 17. Question is, can you do 3 numbers? Oh, let's try, let's see. Number, max, 17, comma, 5, comma, 6. Can I do that? Yep, can. Okay. Okay, so the next thing will be modulo, M-O-D or M-O-D-U-L-O. Basically, it's the remainder of when you divide two numbers, like 7/3, right, would be 2 1/3. Then the remainder, right, the 1. So to do that, you go to Math, you go to Number, you go to MOD, right there, enter, then 7, comma, 3, enter, and it gives you 1. So, like for example, 100 divided by 1, right? That should give you a modulo of 0, or should, let's say math, number, go down, mod, 100, comma, 1, close it, oops, 1, close it, enter, gives you 0. You can't put fractions, unfortunately. Next thing we want to do is the logs, okay? So you have a log key here, ln, log. This means that if you press it once, it gives you the natural log. You press it twice, it gives you the log of 10, okay? So if you want to do the natural log of 3, press the log button first, press 3, close it, enter, gives you the answer. If you wanted the log of 3 of base 10, then you press it twice, and then you can press 3, close it, enter, gives you the value. It's very important. Now, if you wanted the log of base 10 of, let's say you wanted to do the log base 4 of 3, that's different. So you press log once, log twice, log the third time, and you can see the base of 4, the number of 3, enter, and it gives you an answer. Okay. Another key that does that is e to the x and 10 to the x. So let's say you had e to the 1, you press it once, you type in 1, gives you the answer. Let's say 10 to the 2, you press it twice, and you press 2 here, you enter, it gives you 100. And if you press it more than, if you press it, let's clear it. If you press it 3 times, it'll just go back to E. Okay, so I'm going to quit there. Another key is here, pi EI. So just pi, right? There it is. You can enter, and you can press this almost equal sign, and you can convert it. And if you press this button again, yes, it just changes back to pi. You press this twice, it gives you E again. This time just E to the 1. And you can multiply, like let's say 6, and it gives you the value. Same thing with pi. 3 pi, 3 pi, enter. It gives you that value, but you can press approximation, and it gives you the approximate number, okay? Let's see this. Let's say I want 3 pi, and I put a period on it, and it doesn't do it. Sometimes you can do approximation with periods. And then the I, right? Let's say you want 3i, right? Enter, it gives you 3i. Okay. Cool thing too about the i's, let's say you want 3i squared, right? Parentheses, 3, and let's say I, right, the imaginary part, and then squared, and you can see that you get -9 plus 0i. One thing also on the 10, right, if you take 10 and you put half in there, so you press the fraction key 1 down 2, enter, that's like saying the square root of 10, okay, which is pretty neat. And if I press square here, it's squaring the answer, and it brings me out to 10. That's pretty neat. A lot of the times you're doing calculations and you get an answer of 1 over 9 or something, right? So if you like, you can press second fraction, and in this case it's bringing the answer that you have, and we can do that, okay? 1 over 10, and then you enter, right? It gives you 1 over 10. It doesn't give you an answer, but approximation gives you 0.1. If I did second fraction button, again, it's going to put the answer on the bottom, won't it? I can clear that. I don't want the answer. I want to put my own number. If you put 9 first, second, and then the fraction button, it gives you 1 over 9. The reason why it does that is because a lot of times you're doing very complex things, right? Or let's say it's 1 over something very complex. And here, let's say, for example, 1 over 3 plus 5 squared. I don't know, something like this, right? So what you could do is you could do the bottom first, 3 plus 5 squared, enter, and then take the inverse, second fraction. So it's inversing this complicated part, and then you get the answer there, but you can get an approximation of it. So that's why you have it there. All right. Then it has some nice little features, and we're almost done here on on doing this, doing this beginner's guide. You'll see that it has constants right here, second constants. And constants like speed of light, gravitation, electron mass, and if you choose any of these, and it also gives you its variable. If you pick any of these, it gives you the value. If you press, again, it gives you the value. Second, parentheses. Let's look at these again so you get an idea what they are. Faraday's constant, look at that. Bohr's radius, Boltzmann's constant, electron charge, wow. Permeability, I believe that's what it's called. Units, and you can find the units of any of these constants. Permeability, quit. Then convert. So if you press second convert, you can convert English to metric, temperature, speed, length, pressure, power, and so forth. And the way this works is, let's say 36 degrees Fahrenheit, let's say. So I go second, convert, let's say I want to go temperature. So the first number that I typed in, let's say it was in Fahrenheit, you can make it in centigrade, or let's say it was in, it doesn't do Fahrenheit to Kelvin. So what I would have to do is Fahrenheit to centigrade, and it gives me the answer. And then I would have to go second convert temperature from centigrade to Kelvin, let's say, right? And then press here, and it would give me that. Now I'm curious, if I took 36 and I said second convert to temperature to centigrade, and can I go from that to Kelvin? Yeah, I can do it twice. Look at that. That's really nice. So in between here, it took the answer and converted it. I don't know if it does it for all of them, but it does seem like that. Other things that you can do, like let's say you have these numbers, right? And you can see that if I wanted to insert another number here, I can't. But if I go over here and I press second insert, then I can insert other values. That might be interesting for you. Let's say second insert stops it. Yes, stops it. And you can delete numbers too. We've seen that too. I've deleted some numbers before. You also have the sign, right? Like, let's say you had 180 sign. You have to do it first. Sign. So you press sign, and then you press, okay, let's do that again. And then you can see that you have some trigonometric functions here, like sine 180, right? It gives you this, in this case, 0. And the arc sine, you press it twice, right? Let's put 0 here, delete. Let's put 0. In this case, it gives you 0. Don't forget that in the mode, you can always change into degrees, radians, or gradients, okay? If you want radians, you gotta press radians. If not, then degrees. Okay, that should give you some basic understanding on how to use this calculator. If you feel like this has been very helpful, show it to your teacher, show it to your friend. Please subscribe. If you need a question answered, by all means, put it in the comment section, and we'll see if we can help you out. All right. I hope this video has been great. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.